above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when the nothing shines upon.
Though Dead Space only lasted 3 games, the series has grown into a franchise that branched out beyond its main canon. Because the events of the series were far larger than Isaac, it allowed for multiple angles from different characters. During an earnings call in early 2009, EA CEO John Riccitiello announced plans to bring Dead Space to the Nintendo Wii. Titled Dead Space Extraction, the game would use the system's unique controls to reveal events before the first game. To help with development, Visceral brought on Eurocom as co-developers. Since the Wii was unable to run on the same engine as the original game, they opted to use Eurocom's Engine X, which had been created for their games Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. Members of the original game returned, including writer Anthony Johnston and composer Jason Graves, with new members who would go on to do Dead Space 2. While series creators Glenn Schofield and Michael Condrey worked on the project early on, the two would leave Visceral months before its release. The game was released in Australia on September 24, 2009, followed by Europe on the 25th, and North America on the 29th. Dead Space Extraction serves as a prequel, taking place only a few days before the arrival of the USG Kellion. Gameplay was a rail shooter combined with aspects of the original game. You could choose between various weapons from the series, like the plasma cutter and the flamethrower, along with new weapons such as the pistol and rivet gun. Each weapon had a secondary firing mode by tilting the Wii remote, while melee attacks were executed using the Wii's nunchuck. Kinesis and stasis also made their return, though air supply was left out due to the game's on-rails nature. Crates and lockers could be found strewn around with health, stasis, recharge, and ammo. You could also find text and audio logs around, the latter of which was played over the Wii's remote speaker. New gameplay mechanics were added to give it a more survival horror feel. The glowworm could be used to illuminate dark areas and could be recharged by shaking the Wii remote. Control panels could be hacked via a wire loop-esque minigame while trying to fend off necromorphs. Unlike other games in the series, Extraction let players take on the role of multiple characters, which would switch between chapters, showing events that were happening at the same time from different perspectives. The game opened with Sam Caldwell, an engineer whose team was responsible for removal of the red marker. Doing so caused a power outage and madness among the crew. During the ensuing carnage, Sam was shot and killed by security officers, revealing that he had gone mad and murdered his whole team. The necromorph outbreak occurred 1 week after the red marker's removal. Officer Sam McNeil had been assigned to investigate the numerous suicides and murders on the colony, including Sam Caldwell's case. He caught up with his old friend Gabe Weller, whose team had been dispatched to Aegis 7 for body retrieval. During the rampage, the two saved Lexi Murdoch, a CEC surveyor and girlfriend of Sam Caldwell, and CEC executive Warren Eckerd. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the four took a shuttle and made their way to the Ishimura, but they were fired upon to stop the infection. Of course, it would be too late, as the necromorphs were already there to surprise them. However, the group met up with a familiar face for fans, as Nicole Brennan made her only appearance while still alive. A new playable character also opened up in the form of botanist Dr. Karen Howell. However, she discovered the truth about Eckerd being a secret unitologist agent and was purposely left behind by him to a necromorph tentacle. Eckerd wouldn't get away, as he was caught by Weller sending a message to the church and killed by a necromorph. Weller and Lexine started up one of the Ishimura shuttles and held off a horde as an injured McNeil returned in time. As the three took off, Lexine received a signal from the USG Kellion but was unable to respond, starting the nightmare for the ship's crew.
USG Ishimura, this is the emergency maintenance team of the USG Kellion responding to your distress call. Come in, Ishimura.
Hey! This is Ishimura Shuttle 23! Kellion, don't go in there! Do you hear me? Damn it, respond!
A post-credits scene showed Lexine being attacked by McNeil, now turned into a necromorph. Upon completion, players could unlock challenge modes and a fully voiced motion comic based on the IDW miniseries. Extraction received high praise from gamers and the gaming press alike. However, its sales weren't as high, only selling less than 10,000 units within its first week. Many attributed this to the Wii itself with its casual appearance. Other more hardcore experiences, such as Mad World and The Conduit, suffered similar fates. However, the game is considered one of the best games for the system. A fully HD remaster was included with limited edition copies of Dead Space 2 for the PS3, utilizing the system's Move controller. Of course, Extraction wasn't the only spin-off. Other games have been released as tie-ins, though much smaller than the main series. They each offered a glance into the world of Dead Space. On August 25, 2008, EA launched KnownKnownSurvivors.com. The ARG told the story of two Ishimura crew members as they each record their descent into madness. Unfortunately, the site has since been shut down and the domain was sold. All that is left are plot descriptions, images, and audio clips. The second tie-in was Dead Space for mobile devices, released on January 25, 2011. The tie-in with Dead Space 2 had players take on the role of Vandal, a recent convert to Unitology who was on a mission in the EarthGov sector. She was tricked into unleashing a necromorph horde onto the station by the Church, starting the events of Dead Space 2. It retained much of the gameplay and enemies from previous titles, while adding a new weapon with the plasma saw. Critics were impressed with Dead Space Jump to Mobile, however EA pulled the title from app stores in 2015. Lastly, there was Dead Space Ignition, released on October 12, 2010. Unlike any other game in the series, Ignition was a horror puzzle game that followed technician and unitologist Frank Dalio, moments before the events on Titan Station. The game was split between three different minigame types. Trace Route had players controlling a virus racing against antiviruses while dodging obstacles that slowed you down. Hardware Crack tested players' wits as they guided color lasers to various points using mirrors. Finally, there was System Override, a reverse tower defense in which you sent out viruses to attack antiviruses and get them to the other side. The story was played out in comic-style cutscenes with voiceovers, with the story leading straight to the beginning of Dead Space 2, as it was revealed that Franco was the one who died while freeing Isaac. Ignition is the worst-rated game in the series. Its short length and repetitive gameplay left much to be desired, though players with a save file can unlock several extras in Dead Space 2, including the hacker suit, new audio logs, and a hacker contact beam. Of course, the series has continued outside of games. It spawned two animated films. The first was Dead Space Downfall. First announced in March 2008 and produced by EA and Film Ronin, it was released straight to DVD and Blu-ray on October 28, 2008. Downfall is a prequel set on the Ishimura as it reached the age of 7, following the security officer Alyssa Vincent and her team dealing with the rising threat of the necromorphs. The second film was Dead Space Aftermath, which was announced at San Diego Comic-Con in 2008. However, it wouldn't come out until January 25, 2011 to tie in with the release of Dead Space 2. Set before the original in 2, the anthology followed events that occurred on the USG O'Bannon from the perspective of 4 survivors. The crew had been sent by CEC to investigate the communications blackout from Aegis 7 and the Ishimura. The other stories include numerous comics and novels. IDW has published 3 comics, a 6-issue miniseries written by Anthony Johnston and illustrated by Ben Templesmith. The two also wrote a one-shot prequel to Extraction in 2009. Johnston's last work for the franchise would be the graphic novel Dead Space Salvage, illustrated by Christopher Shy. It followed a group of salvagers called the Magpies, who find a long-dormant Ishimura during an illegal mining operation. In 2013, Titan Books published Dead Space Liberation, written by Ian Edgington, with Shy returning for illustrations. It served as a prequel to Dead Space 3. 2 novels have been released by Tor Books. 2010's Martyr by B.K. Evanson was set 300 years in the past, making it the earliest story in the timeline. The plot followed the discovery of the Earth Marker by Michael Altman, his death at the hands of the Necromorphs, and the founding of Unitology. The second novel, Catalyst, picked up 80 years later and followed 2 brothers trying to break out of a prison during a necromorph outbreak caused by experiments with the Earth Marker. While the world of Dead Space has a breadth of lore, the series has remained dormant since 2013. Pre-planning for Dead Space 4 began sometime after the 3rd entry. but was halted by EA due to the game's lower sales. According to director Ben Wannot, the game would have followed Ellie, escaping to Earth while scavenging parts from other derelict ships along the way. Visceral Games is now a necromorph itself. Due to poor sales and canceled projects, EA officially shut down the studio on October 17, 2017. In the years after, the future of Dead Space appeared uncertain. However, on July 22, 2021, EA announced a full remake of the original Dead Space was in production. Developed by Motive Studios and using the Frostbite engine, as of this recording, it is currently set for a late 2022 release. Though we may never know the true fate of Isaac Clarke, his dark and disturbing adventures will always be there to relive again. Until that time comes when the Necromorph Horde return, fans will be there with plasma cutters in hand to cut off their limbs. Okay folks, and there you have it. The Dead Space retrospective is finished. I just want to take a moment to thank every single one of you who's been following with this. What you just saw is around 4 months of work, and my God, was it work. There were times where I honestly thought I was not going to be able to make the October deadline, and I'm thankful that I did. It's so relieving knowing that I actually finished this damn thing. As for future retrospectives, I have not 1, not 2, but 3 retrospectives all planned out for next year. And I say next year because there's no way in hell I'm going to get anything ready in time for December. So for now, this will be the last retrospective of the entirety of 2021. I think I'll probably get the writing for the next one started either November or December. I'm gonna take my time with that. I'm not gonna rush it like I did with this one, because this was mostly a holiday thing. This wasn't done just for the hell of it. Until then, I'm going to be catching up on a lot of stuff because there's a lot of manga and video games that I have to go back and go through. Like for example, I've had my copy of Metroid Dread since day 1, and yet it's still wrapped in the plastic. I haven't even been able to play it. And that's just one game. Like, I have a whole bunch of other games I just have not had any time to play through. So hopefully I'll be able to get through those. I hope you have a happy Halloween. Until then, I'll see you next time.